Hello and welcome to the Klosmi commentary, where it's me and Cos, and today we went a little differently. There weren't really many headlines to talk about, so we went into real depth into the Premier League because it's just a crazy situation at the moment.
VAR,
yes, we did discuss VAR, and we touched on the Italian league, and we talked a bit about the La Liga and the Bundesliga, but really we just got into the leagues, some real depth, so hopefully you can learn something from there.
and AC Milan.
And AC Milan, of course. But yeah, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. So, Cos, it has been a big week.
It has.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, it has. It's always a big week. Always a big week.
Well, compounded with the Champions League fixtures that we hadn't gone through. We sort of touched on it a bit last week because we'd seen half of it and the second half happened the next day. But the Premier League, just mental at the moment. We had some nice results, didn't we? Yeah, well, it's sort of the week before we were sort of touting a few top six wannabe potentials. That fell apart pretty spectacularly. And then this week,
it's just been revived.
Come roaring back.
Yeah,
we've got
it's very close.
It's
very close.
Very interesting
competitive
table,
yeah.
Especially the first fixture, Leicester Tottenham. That was
the thing about that one is Leicester coming from behind.
Yeah, well, that's
huge.
With a bit of help from the
help,
video assistant
but,
referee.
Still big.
Oh,
still massive.
Enormous. And now they're in third place, and justifiably so. They've played...
You never know, mate. That team, they've won the league before.
They have.
They can do it again.
They're not going to do it again, but...
You never know, mate. Leicester have done... They're capable of anything.
They've pulled miracles, but at the moment we have three teams.
This would be one massive miracle if they win it this time.
At this point, Liverpool winning is a miracle. So Leicester winning is just something out of this world.
Yeah.
But we've got 11 points for Leicester, and they're joined by Arsenal and West Ham. So for all the slack... or the smack that Arsenal's been getting.
And give some credit to Bournemouth as well on 10 points.
Yeah, on 10 points. Yeah,
sixth spot.
Rounding off the top six.
Yeah. 2
points clear of the chasing pack.
Which is the normal top six.
And
Tottenham and Man United.
And several others. But we'll touch on that in a second. Just wanted to say on Arsenal.
Yeah.
I mean, the game that they played, that was against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like much, but they... went a man down after being a goal down, and they won.
Yeah.
And they're the second team to have done that. The first team to have done that was Liverpool against Crystal Palace a few seasons back. In the history, I don't know if it was the history of the
I'd be worried if I was a
top
Villa
division.
Fan. They're not looking too good.
I was going to talk about that because we're sort of skipping over there's no real headlines to talk of this week.
When you compare them to Sheffield and Norwich, they look a bit,
of the newcomers.
Yeah. They're a bit behind the pace.
Yeah, they are a bit behind the pace. Actually, you know what? Before we do,
you know who is disappointing? Everton.
They are disappointing.
They're very, very disappointing at the moment.
But before we go into that, because we're gonna spend a bit more time on going into all these teams. I just thought I got one headline, but it's Premier League related, so it will be a smooth transition.
Yeah.
VAR.
What have you got? VAR. Yeah.
We have to spend a moment on VAR because we're going to be avoiding it like the plague this season because it's going to be there every week. But this week,
I think the question is: are you a fan of stringent rules, or are you a fan of a bit of leeway?
And that's
because technically, if you go by the letter of the law, he was offside.
He was the correct. Well, that's where I.
However, what advantage does he actually have?
Well,
come on.
There's a few ways to look at the offside rule, right? Because obviously now we've got the advantage of being able to freeze frame. You go down to the thing. But I don't know if they've got this or if it's because I feel like they haven't looked at this properly because obviously if that was the correct frame, then he was offside, right? technically speaking, right?
Well,
although
yes.
I'm not entirely sure it was.
To the letter of the law, he was offside.
Well,
however, I don't like it.
No. So that's the thing, cause he may not have been offside. Because
I've heard that as well, because there's no, the VAR is not 100% as well. There can be a margin of error with VARs and its analysis.
Exactly, the margin for error, right? Because what's going on here, right? With VAR, we got to break it down, right? Like there's a few points where things can go wrong. One, the moment of the release of the ball. How do they work that out? Yep. I don't know if there's any clear rules on what that is, and it could be a number of things. It could be the point that the player makes contact with the ball. It could be the point that the ball is no longer contacting the foot. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, or when the ball completely leaves.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think when there's daylight between the foot. But how do you work that out?
Exactly.
So there we've got a problem already. But in terms of which frame is correct.
Is there an actual rule based on that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think there is. There's no, or we haven't been told. So if we haven't been told, there may as well not be a rule, right? So I think it's safe to assume they haven't standardized which interpretation they're going to go with. Although they might have one, they might have their guidelines or whatever, but I haven't heard it yet. So,
I haven't either. No one's really discussed that.
So that's the first part, right? Yeah. The second part is then, how do they get these 3D lines? How do they know if they've got the line in the right line?
Well, this is where it gets too technical for me.
No, but I mean, 'cause if you look at the picture of the Son offside, right? How do you know that? I mean, like the line is. First of all, like, where does the shoulder end? Where does the goal-scoring part of the body end?
You could have a big nose and be offside.
Yeah, and
this is ridiculous.
So that's the second part where it's where is the where does it end?
No, I agree.
So
100%.
So that's two parts now which have like a big margin for error, which is fine, right? I mean, the way I would play that would be when there's because in cricket, right, where there's a margin for error. Then the benefit goes to the umpire's decision, right?
Yeah.
In this case, it could go. The benefit goes to the striker because I mean, like, if it's that close, then there's no advantage, right?
Well, makes sense, yeah.
Right, but obviously, there has to be a line drawn somewhere, right? But so if they can work out the correct frame to stop it, if they can work out where the body ends, right? Yeah. Let's just say they've done that, right? With the thing that they've done.
Theoretically, yep.
Right. Now, where do they draw the... How do they know the line has been drawn at the correct depth? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because...
It changes everything. Especially in these close calls.
Yeah, exactly.
It does. It changes everything.
I mean, it might look like the line is coming from his shoulder, but that could be, in a three-dimensional space in the wrong spot, in which case the line's in the completely wrong spot. So how can they judge where that line's supposed to be?
You can't.
I mean, and once again, let's say it's possible, right? Let's say it can be done.
Well, if it can be done 100%, we're all across it.
Well, that's just it.
Then it's a different,
situation. Okay, we'll make it a bit more realistic. We'll say that they can do it within a certain margin of error. Right?
Well, I don't think it'll be widely...
Within centimetre. Like, we'll just say within 5 centimetres.
That, fans aren't going to accept that.
No, but... So what I'm saying is, if there is such a margin of error, then if there's any part of that margin keeps the player onside, should be onside. So if it's possible that he was onside...
so you would give the benefit
to the striker.
Yeah.
I think that's how it should play.
Because
I think most of the outrage is towards the striker not getting through.
That's a fair point.
I don't think anyone's outraged when that was clearly offside, and or like it wasn't given offside, but he had a clear thing. So I mean that's one way to go about it. I mean, so have we just solved VAR?
How to solve VAR?
Have we just solved VAR? I think we've solved the problem of VAR.
Oh, that's a big call.
We solved racism, and now we've solved VAR.
It seems to work in cricket, doesn't it?
Yeah, well,
if you're giving the benefit of the doubt, well, you're right. Like the rage is that the goal wasn't allowed.
Yeah, when the advantage was tiny.
So you give it to the striker. Yeah, no, that because at the moment the benefit of the doubt is going to the defender.
Well, it's not really going to the defender. It's just going to.
Well, it's going to the. Well,
it's making this false presumption.
It's benefiting the other team.
Yeah, well,
and that's not.
Well,
but no,
there's a false presumption that it's.
You make a very good
accurate.
point.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean there's VAR for all the way through that. Just to give it context, Tottenham scored.
Yep.
And then it got called back for the offside. Yeah,
did you see the goal?
The goal, yeah, both the goals were good.
Yeah.
From Tottenham, but then it was obviously called back for the offside by the smallest marginal offside decision in the history of man that will ever be. And then Leicester scored at the other end, and basically because of that, Leicester is now third place, and Tottenham is mid-table.
Well, look, you can't blame that if you're Tottenham. Like you ended up losing the game. It's
Well, to be fair on Pochettino,
but you can't. You can't. You still conceded 2 goals. You dropped your heads.
Yeah.
So that's your problem. Like you can say, VAR stuffed us up. At the end of the day, if you're winners, you don't lose that game. That's it.
I mean, like, sometimes there's borderlines. The opposite happened to Liverpool. They had, well, in this case, Tottenham would have gone up 2-0. They didn't, then...
Yeah, but
Leicester equalised.
If you've got a winning...
Like, we're not like, Tottenham's obviously not a great place. Liverpool did the opposite. They conceded a goal. Chelsea would have made it 1-1. The goal was chalked off, and then minutes later they scored the second goal, which sort of took the game away from Chelsea a little bit, and then it was a tense finish, but Chelsea didn't win in the end. But Pochettino, he said in the post match, he said, "No, sometimes these things go your way, sometimes they don't, because Tottenham have gotten so many of these decisions going their way." Last season.
That's true.
Against Liverpool, against Manchester City.
The Champions League as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Against Manchester City in the Champions League. That's what got them to the final, basically.
So they were due.
Yeah, so Pochettino understands that sometimes these things go against you. And I just love the calmness of just, look, like most people would be saying, what the hell is this? This is not football. This is...
most people, yeah. But Pochettino's not most people. He's
Pochettino.
Yep.
But
he's Pochettino.
All right,
Pochettino.
Pochettino.
It's not Pochettino.
That's right.
However they say it.
It's a hard C.
Pochettino.
Not a soft C. But so that was the first round of the fixture. There was also a bit of a VAR incident earlier on, but I don't think it's really worth going into because it's not really VAR we're talking about here. It's about the rules and the handball rule again. Like I think everyone agrees that it's terrible, so we'll just not talk about it.
It's terrible.
It just anything just sliver. It just touches your hand, then it's only if you're an attacker, though. Only if you're an attacker, which is just the second... the first mistake was to make anything that touches your hand a foul. And the second mistake was to make it only for the strikers. So it's I'm sure it's one of the rules that's going to disappear next season.
I hope so.
But now, I think that you can't think of anything interesting that's happened today. I mean, this week, with any great headlines catch your...
actually, it's been quite boring this week, really, hasn't it?
Well, other than within the league sort of thing.
The league as well.
There's nothing to take our attention away.
Not really, no. I mean, the Milan derby happened, if you're interested in that. But it was a formality.
Yeah, it was a formality.
Who was going to win, and it went to script. So
yeah, it went almost... it was very scripted. And that's the Italian title race.
Look, I have to say, like AC Milan, like I'm just...
Well, AC is not part of that race.
So frustrated with them. Like as an Italian football fan, I'd like to see Serie A improve.
All right, let's give this context.
And now look, And then you've got this AC Milan, who's supposed to be one of the biggest clubs in Italy, and is one of the biggest clubs in Italy, just sitting in mid-table and just, mediocrity. And it's really frustrating that Atalanta are in the Champions League. Atalanta, they've never been there. They'll probably never get there again. They lost 4-0 to Dinamo Zagreb because they've got no experience. They're thinking, Dinamo Zagreb, yeah, they're not that good. Yeah, they're not a good team in Europe. Except, they're not akin to Udinese, all right? They're like your, AC Milan in Serie A. They're good. That's why you take them lightly, you lose 4-0. They've got no experience. We need Milan back in Europe. That's my rant for the week.
So we'll give context to that. It's like...
There's no context. That's the contest. There's no experience.
The context. So
you got a budget team finishing third, which is a fantastic achievement. Don't get me wrong. But we need Milan in the Champions League, not Atalanta.
It's like having Liverpool in their rut. So under Hodgson, if they kept with Hodgson, stayed in mid-table for... How long's Milan been there now? It's been, 5 years?
Probably 6.
6 years. 6 years. So
something like that.
So Liverpool spent 6 months there.
Look, they had finished 5th or something. They had been in the Europa League last season.
They're scraping on.
That is just not good enough.
So Liverpool's rut lasted, it was on and off, but it was sort of in a 6-7 month period. This is going for 6 years for Milan, a team with 7 European titles, and being replaced in the Champions League by Bournemouth.
Huh?
Yeah, Bournemouth. So Liverpool has been replaced by Bournemouth. Let's just say there's a comparison here. Bournemouth has gone into the Champions League completely under.
That's fair. That's a fair comparison.
And they're completely unequipped for it. They don't have the squad depth. The players are being poached anyway.
They don't have the squad depth. That's a massive thing. But it seemed like they looked at Dinamo Zagreb and they're like, yeah, they're not a good team.
Do you reckon they did?
Well, that's how it played out to me. I don't know if they did, but that's how it seemed to be. They just didn't rock up. And they lost 4-0.
They lost. Yeah, it was disappointing there.
It's like they were playing Udinese, or a team that was on relegation fodder in Serie A, except they were playing in Europe. It's like the level of Dinamo Zagreb in Europe. They looked at that and they're like, right, they're not good. Therefore, we're playing a low-level team in Serie A.
They were away, right?
Yeah.
At least they were away.
Before,
they could have been... I wouldn't be surprised if they got a very intimidating atmosphere in Dinamo Zagreb.
Yeah, that too.
So they could have been shaken up. But either way, it's grim.
Croatia, bro.
Yeah, it's Croatia there. They love their football there.
You're going to cop it over there, I'm telling you.
Especially after the World Cup they had. So,
they'll be very good.
They'll be fine. But... we will get back to the Premier League. We will go back to Serie A.
Yeah.
But first, we'll just look through the Premier League because there is a lot going on there at the moment. We're just going to go off the weekend fixtures. So the title races sort of just stayed as it was. Although Manchester City just tore up Watford. They ate them for breakfast.
It was a snatch and grab. Just complete
snatch and grab.
8 goals. They just snatched it.
I feel like there'll be a Soccer on Sunday article about a snatch and grab.
Well, I did actually look at Soccer on Sunday.
It was the snatch and grab?
And no, there wasn't a snatch and grab, but the owners have decided to take Watford out of the Premier League. They've been booted out. that was the article.
Wait, so the owners of Watford?
Of Watford, yeah. Just they've been booted out. We're taking them out. It was a hard decision.
No, they got smashed for 8 against Watford. And I was expecting a trouncing, but 8 goals. I think their loss against Norwich hurt them, and they really wanted to...
Well, they responded in the Champions League as well. They went to... Shakhtar Donetsk, I believe, they won 3-0.
Yes.
So
they won in Ukraine.
They've responded in style.
Yes.
Man City.
Not conceded. And they're still missing some defenders. John Stones as well as Laporte out. So they have to play Fernandinho, the harder defence.
Yeah.
Which is fine when you're playing against teams that aren't touching the ball. So
Yeah, they're just going to be mad on possession now.
Yeah, we'll see how they go against stronger opposition. But they also 3-0 in the League Cup, I'm pretty sure, with their third team.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't really matter.
Still a good team. The third team.
It didn't change the scope of the title race because Liverpool won against.
They did get the
Chelsea.
win, Liverpool.
And
I heard Liverpool got a new coach, like for set pieces specifically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, and I'm usually on top of these things. But
Yeah,
I know they've got a throw-in coach.
Yeah, I think that was the one.
Oh no, that's old. That's they've had it for 2 seasons now.
Old. Oh, no, this is new.
So
this is new.
So they could have a set piece, but they've definitely been good at the set pieces. They scored from 2 set pieces in this game, one direct and one with a cross for a header.
It's just about finding different ways to win.
Yeah, and
that's what it is.
They have a lot of ways to win. And one thing I've noticed about Liverpool, the difference between Liverpool and Manchester City, So Manchester City beat teams by being better than the other team. Every time.
Yeah, outplaying them completely.
Liverpool beat teams by getting into a winning position and keeping it. Like they do what is necessary, and once they're in a position, they get into a winning position, and then they adapt to the situation.
That's why they'll lose the goal difference battle.
Yeah, well, they're not going to win that one.
But it's a contrast of style. That's what it is. That's what you're saying.
And what ends up happening is that Liverpool has to. So Liverpool basically cruises through all the teams that are weaker than them. Like they'll pretty much beat everyone that's weaker than them. But when it comes to the stronger teams,
top 6 basically
away from home, it can be a bit difficult.
Well, look, to go away to say Chelsea, Arsenal, I'd still say Man United because they're winning at home. It's never easy anyway. Yeah. So that's a factor in itself.
But when Manchester City play, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's what I mean. It's that different style.
And but the difference comes where Manchester City are in a rut. They can't necessarily get through that rut without dropping points.
Well, not just dropping points, like actually losing the game.
Yeah.
What I noticed last season when Liverpool were in that rut, sort of mid-season,
they failed to win.
They failed to win, but they didn't lose.
Yes.
They drew the games. That's a contrast of style.
Yeah, well, City had 4 losses last season. Liverpool had only 1.
The 1, yeah.
But Liverpool had, I think, 5 or 6 draws. Man City had, I think, 1 or 2.
Yeah, that was the difference.
Yeah, and the difference was that bloody centimetre and the goals. And
That's a big
the head-to-head. The head-to-head.
Big price to pay.
Yeah, but
the plan's going well. Win every game and just get 4 points of City. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, so
it's easy.
And they got a bit of breathing. It's easy. It's easy.
Just keep doing it.
At this point, they can't afford to lose twice to City. But
it's just if you listen to me, things will go well. That's it.
And there's some fans that actually believe that they'll say that, and they'll actually believe that that's
It's all in the head. It's like saying, "Oh, we can't win every game." Why can't you win every game? Just go out there and do the job. You're good enough. Do it. What's this? Oh, no one's done it before. Well, you're going to have to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
No one got 100 points before. Then City got it.
Yeah.
You guys can get 100 points.
Yeah. It's happening. If it happens in other leagues, it can happen in this league.
Yes, absolutely.
But the title race, in that sense, has not moved. It's more important.
No, it hasn't moved.
The other 2 teams in those fixtures. So we have contrasting. We've got Watford, number 1 candidate for relegation.
No, they're gone.
We didn't.
If things don't change,
they'll change.
Gone.
They'll change.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of whether they'll change quickly enough, and if they'll change for the better or for the worse.
The thing is, what I'm saying is that they've already changed managers. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
Right, they got a draw against Arsenal, and they arguably should have won that game.
Does it count as a change if you go back to your old manager?
It still does. It still does.
Or is it the opposite of a change?
Look, admittedly, they should have beaten Arsenal. They didn't. They got a draw, but okay, improvement. And now it just got smashed 8-0. I don't know. I mean, it is City, but
yeah, it is City.
Look, I'll reserve judgment.
And they have.
I'll reserve judgment. I'll give Watford a chance, but at the moment, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's not a good start. Well, look, the fact that they lost, it's like it's understandable. It's City. They usually get a trouncing from them anyway, just because it's City, and they Watford and West Ham. I think they're 2 bunnies. and Bournemouth, I think. Actually, Bournemouth sometimes hold them off a bit, but yeah, definitely Watford and West Ham. They're the bunnies. They just get hit 5-6 goals, but 8 goals. That's a warning sign. That's more than expected. You know?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like it's because in the first half it was 5-0 after what, like 20-something minutes.
Yeah.
And
at that point, I was like, "Are they going to score 15?"
It was basically every opportunity they had was a goal.
I thought they were going to score 15.
Yeah,
because I know that City don't rest. They'll play 90 minutes and look to score for 90 minutes.
Well, also the fact that they're using their second team to play it means that they're hungry. You know, the players all want to show, I want to be in the first team. I want to be in the first team. So that they don't hold off.
That's right.
They keep going. And it's not good if your fantasy team had Raheem Sterling as a captain. But
well, I had Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
goodness.
That was
and I also had Bernardo Silva.
Yes, that's a double.
What a beautiful week that was.
Cos is loving the fantasy.
It's a beautiful week.
But
you stack your team with City midfielders. Jeez.
But
you get these weeks.
But this is not a conversation about City. This is a conversation about Watford, and they now lead the lineup for relegation candidates. They're at the bottom. They got the fact that you're conceding that many goals, because City batter every team, right? But teams keep the goal. You know, they keep them at bay at least for a number of attempts. Well, you know, they might score that goal in the first minute, which happens surprisingly often now, which is really annoying as a Liverpool fan. But you gotta show that you can stop team or slow them down at least, and that's one of the surefire signs of a team that's heading for the dogfight in the relegation battle.
Oh yeah.
The other teams, you were talking before about Aston Villa, because they're, I think, second from the bottom.
Well, I just don't think they're looking good at the moment. But you know,
well, I mean, it's
a long season.
They took the lead against Arsenal away from home twice. Once after a red card, once before.
I'm not saying they're bad, but you don't have to be bad in this league. You can still be all right and get relegated.
I think they got a bit of a shock to the system, because they're sort of used to the championship. You know, like they'll get into the, like, you got to fight once you've got that lead, especially if you're away from home. Even because they went a man up pretty soon after they took the lead.
They were a man up, yeah.
Because Arsenal got a red card, and they credit to Arsenal as well. You got to say, Aston Villa shot themselves in the foot. They gave away a penalty to make it 1-1.
Yeah.
But then they got another winner, so they got ahead again. But then they let Arsenal score once and then twice.
Themselves. Trash.
Yeah, it was trash of the week. Well, I think it's an experience thing too. I think they'll learn from that.
They'll learn.
And if they don't, then they're heading straight back to the championship.
Yeah, that's brutal league.
So it's a brutal league, and that is exactly the lesson learned from this game, because that was a classic example of an opportunity missed by Aston Villa, and also Arsenal showing some steel and to come back from that. And they're the only top 6 candidate actually in the top 6.
Scared this time.
Yeah. They're at home. If you're scared at home. Oh god, it's funny them saying they're scared.
Even if wherever you're playing, we're scared of Watford. Come on, Jesus.
Man City were scared of Watford.
They're
scared of the Watford crowd. I think that's the only believable story. I'm trying to give them the best possible.
Have they forgotten the Champions League? What if they go to these Eastern Europe countries, all the flares and everything?
Actually, where did they go? Huh? Where did they go for the Europa League? You don't remember?
It doesn't matter, but I'm talking like, you go to these passionate like Croatian fans or Serbian fans, they're nuts. You're scared of Watford? Where are the flares? Come on, boys.
Well,
Jesus.
You hope that they learn quickly, and Arsenal seem to have. If that's an indication of what's to come,
you're scared of going to Watford against those mad, hungry, mean Watford fans.
But
come on,
that was last week, and looking at this week, giving them credit because because Well, I
give them credit for coming back after being that part's good.
In particular, after that Watford game, because that was a game where they took the lead. You know, they got the 2 goals, Then they got
lost,
battered,
yeah.
absolutely destroyed for the rest of the game. They were lucky to get away with the draw,
no,
to be honest.
I give them credit for responding,
and
right?
then, but then they go into this game,
not being scared.
But then they go into this game and concede early, and it's just like it plays with your head, you know. And then got a red card. They could easily have capitulated.
This was all before half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, all before half time.
So
they could have capitulated.
Emery could have had an impact there, maybe.
Oh no. So they started to get back into the game before half time. I'm quite sure. So we'll just confirm that. But yeah, I mean, like this was a game that looked like it could be very ugly because, especially after last week. So they got the. So yeah, it was after half time that they got their goal. So you're right. They just before half time, Maitland-Niles got sent off. And then they made their changes, and they got the penalty to start themselves off. Conceded a minute later, so that could have been ugly too.
That could have been ugly, yeah.
And then they came back at the end.
The question is, can you do that away from home?
Well, that's the next step. That's the next step.
To be scared of Watford fans, that is just absolutely.
That's really stuck
ridiculous.
with you, hasn't it?
Huh?
That's really stuck with you, being scared of Watford. Yeah.
We were scared. I've never heard that before.
Oh.
We were scared of fans.
But at this stage,
in England,
Arsenal
fans scared of fans. What are they doing? Just yelling from the stands.
That'd be pretty intimidating. But
intimidating. What have they got? They got sticks.
The players. I mean, the fans. I don't know what they.
What are they? Are they throwing stuff?
I have no idea.
Oh, I don't think so. We would have heard about it if they were throwing stuff.
I think he was actually afraid of the team because they were just getting battered. So, they were coming at them so often. But either way,
that's even worse.
That was last week. We move on because otherwise we'll be here talking about for a year about Arsenal being afraid of Watford.
It's absolutely ridiculous. What are we moving on to?
All right, so we're moving on to another candidate.
Are we? Another relegation?
Manchester United. No. So this is the top six. Direct rival.
Yeah.
West Ham beating them 2-0.
Yeah.
I heard it was a very limp performance from Manchester United.
Man United haven't won an away game since that Paris Saint-Germain game.
Really?
Yeah. And overall under Solskjaer.
Well, they haven't won since he went full.
They've lost. In 19 games, they've won 10 and lost 9 or something. It's not a good record.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'll have to fact check that, but it's something like that. And
so far this season, it's been 2 draws, and that was their first loss away from home.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting because I could have sworn that they'd lost more games than that. But
look, admittedly, at home they are getting the result, but away from home they've been shocking. They lost to Crystal Palace.
But the Crystal Palace seem to get everyone.
I also read today that the Glazers just don't care. I don't think they seem to care because they said that no matter how we're going on the field, it doesn't impact our financial result. So the question mark should be there as to do they actually care about how United are playing, or do they just want money? Because also they've leveraged the business. Their takeover of United has been highly leveraged. Basically, a lot of debt to run that club.
I think it's some
and
sort of...
they've lost $1 billion in interest payments alone. The Glazers.
Manchester United or the Glazers?
The owners. I'd assume United would be
because
affected.
I don't know if they can take that money out of the club, or I don't know if it's just some sort of tax evasion scheme, or tax reduction scheme. But it is concerning. It is concerning.
Yeah,
definitely concerning. And they've spent close to $1 billion on players, and they have the weakest looking lineup in the top half.
They are extremely rich, so I wouldn't worry about their finances. Per se.
Oh no, it's more the fact that they've got nothing to show for the money they've spent.
Yeah, well,
so
it's terribly
worrying. But
it's terribly run. That's what's happening.
It's a really it's tough to gauge them really because I don't know what to think anymore with Manchester United because.
But other than that, though, West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham.
Credit to them. 2-0.
Fantastic season, other than the 5-0 loss at the start of the season to Manchester City.
Other than the 5-0 and the other results.
The 5-0 loss at home, may I add. But other than that, they have had...
Other than that, they've been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And
their
ladder position shows they're fifth.
They are fifth. just behind Arsenal on. I'm not even sure if they are technically behind them because they've got the same goal difference.
Are they?
And the same points.
It'll be goals scored.
Could be, or it could be that Arsenal is an A and West Ham is a W.
Well, imagine losing the league like that. Jesus.
Let's see. 7 goals for Arsenal at home to 5.
Could that actually happen?
Yeah.
If you've got the same points, the same goals, same head-to-head?
It comes down to a coin flip.
A coin flip.
I'm not sure if it's a coin flip. I think that was old rules or something like that.
Man.
I don't know what it is now. But there are rules in place.
That would be the most watched coin flip
actually
ever.
I think there's a playoff.
There's a playoff.
Like if everything is even, I think they play at a neutral venue.
Oh.
They play off against each other like a final.
Oh wow.
But I could just be letting fantasy take over. But I'm pretty sure I saw that, and they were talking about the possibility of.
I'd prefer the coin flip. Actually, that's what I want to see.
Who wants to see a final?
I want to see the tension of this coin flip. Who's going to call? Who's going to call heads or tails? Which one?
Oh, lovely.
There would be a coin flip as to who would call heads or tails, and then there will be a second flip.
Oh, but West Ham, who got to be bottom 6, top 6, in fact,
Yeah.
and Bournemouth up in 6th.
Yep.
After winning at Southampton in the derby.
They got good strikers, Bournemouth, don't they? Harry Wilson.
Well, Harry Wilson, I don't know what to call him. He's not really a striker, but he's more of like a.
He's putting it in the net.
He's an attacking player that's scoring goals. So
He's striking, don't worry.
Scoring goals for us against Manchester City. Good on him. They tried, but yeah, they got up 3-1. That is a derby, for those who don't know. There's 2 Wilsons.
Yeah, there's 2 Wilsons. Yeah.
Harry, and they both score goals, so it can get very confusing there.
Wilson.
Next season, probably one of them will only stay, but who knows? He could stick around. He could get a full because he's on loan there, Harry. But
who?
Harry Wilson's on loan.
Harry Wilson. Oh yeah.
Yeah, from Liverpool.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
that's why I know.
It's back to Liverpool.
So everything revolves around Liverpool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Southampton a candidate for relegation as well. I think they're in my top 3, maybe. Even though they're on 7 points, that's probably a bit harsh on them, to be honest. No, my top 3 candidates at the moment are Watford, Newcastle, and it's really hard to pick the third one. But
you still think Newcastle will get relegated?
I think Norwich. Norwich is my third candidate.
Norwich.
Yep. I don't think they're necessarily going to get relegated. I'm just saying that at this point in time,
it's very early. It's hard to say. Do you want me to do my candidates? Do you?
All right, let's see what your candidates are.
Mine.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to say Watford.
Yeah, Watford's
just because
they've
already changed their manager. It just doesn't bode well.
And they're negative 14 goal difference. The next worst is Norwich on negative 5.
I'm gonna say Villa.
Incredible.
I'm gonna say Villa.
All right, Villa.
Right. I see Wolves down there. I'm like, how are they down? But anyway, they're not going to get relegated.
4 draws. That's
Wolves.
It's because they've drawn 4.
Yeah, well,
they can't get the win.
They can't get a win. No.
But they've been doing good with the.
And I'm going to go with something a little doesn't seem like it at this stage.
Manchester United. Okay, Sheffield.
I think
that's right. Sheffield.
They're starting well, and I don't know if they can keep it up.
Yes,
I'm going to say Sheffield. I think Newcastle will survive. I'm backing them.
I think it'll be between Newcastle and Norwich for survival, and I agree with Sheffield. I agree that Sheffield will go lower because they're flying.
Look, I don't think they'll stay 10th, but
no,
they can survive obviously. But I'm saying I think Sheffield will end up going down.
Although to be fair, I have not seen Sheffield play even once, so
yeah,
the results that they've been getting suggest that they're better than what they seem.
That's true.
They beat Everton away, which is another candidate for the top 6 who has, for
That's
me,
what I'm saying. This is
no longer top 6.
I'm sticking my leg out here.
Yes.
I'm sticking it out.
They're just a bit strange, Sheffield, aren't they? Because they're just getting these weird results. They lost at home to Southampton, beat Everton away, drew with Chelsea away after being 2-0 down.
Yeah.
They lost at home to Leicester.
Well, Leicester's a good team.
Yeah, but they they beat Crystal Palace.
That's
at home.
a good win.
That was their only.
And that's a
home
good
victory.
result.
And they drew at Bournemouth.
That was on the
first
opening
game.
day. Look, yeah,
Opening day.
well, they've got that winning mentality from the championship.
Yeah,
they're
so
bringing in.
they've got this sort of adrenaline rush, and we see this often where
We
teams they'll have this sort of Hull City like.
Hull City, yeah.
And
I've
then
seen it before.
once the momentum starts going against them,
Yeah.
lose a bit of belief, and then suddenly it's a bit harder to get a result, and then little things don't go their way, and suddenly they get a VAR decision that goes against them, and next thing you know they're 2 points away from the relegation zone and needing someone to stuff up on the last day to survive.
Yeah, it can happen. It can. I'm sticking my leg out, obviously, but yeah, I'm going to say.
Just to be clear, you're saying they're going to go. They're a relegation candidate, right?
I'm saying that I'm tipping them to go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so that's
obviously I could be way wrong.
So it's developing nicely here. We've got this concoction because the bottom of the table is obviously Watford's a standout right now. Everyone's going to be tipping them for relegation. Sheffield was the favourite for relegation at the start of the season, and now they've probably gone up a bit. So if you still think they're going to go down, a sports bet, good time to sort of jump on. But
Oh yeah,
cheeky $2.
I don't bet anymore.
2 cents. What am I?
Oh, 2 cents.
$2.
Oh, yeah,
$2
yeah.
is
I want my 5 cents back.
But I got a list here. I have a list
Of what?
and the league, right?
Of the greatest Liverpool players that you love.
There's 3 leagues going on right now.
Is it?
There is Liverpool and Manchester City in their own
Of course,
league.
Liverpool. I mean, Jesus, back always.
No,
Liverpool.
but I'm putting them aside because
Just-
they're not important. The 2 leagues that we care about are there's this fight for top 6, where half the league is battling for, and the battle for relegation, which the other half is battling to get away from. In the top 6, we have Leicester, West Ham, surprise package Bournemouth, obviously Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace and Everton, who for me have shown me enough to say they're not going to be in that battle. They're going to fall away.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace and Everton.
Yeah, Crystal Palace. Yeah,
I think Crystal Palace was sort of a false dawn, and Everton have clearly they need to sort
They're
out there.
disappointing, Everton.
They
They're
haven't
better
got
than what
consistency,
they are,
do they?
surely, huh?
The consistency is just not there.
Well, I don't think the quality's there.
Yeah, the quality is definitely there,
But
I think they've got too many players, to be honest.
I think they are consistent. They're just consistently bad.
No, because they started good. They started, and then they've gone opposite. Like just to give an idea here, because Everton started off looking like they were going to live up to their name. They in the first game they drew against Crystal Palace, which is sort of it's the first day, like anything can happen. But then they
beat Watford. They beat Watford. All right, let's keep going.
They beat Watford 1-0.
Yep, trash.
They lost to Aston Villa.
No, forget it. Lost to Villa.
But then they beat Wolves 3-2.
Oh, amazing.
And then they
got
lost to
smashed by
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
look, I'm starting to see a bad trend here.
No, gone. Forget it.
It's not good. It's not looking good. And now it doesn't get any easier. They play Manchester City next week. Although it is at home.
This is not good.
It's definitely not good.
No.
But yeah, I think it's fair to say Everton do not look like top 6 candidates. So I'm pulling them out. I'm pulling them out early. And Crystal Palace as well. Bournemouth, I think, will follow suit soon. And West Ham will eventually drop off. I think Leicester's the only realistic candidate to break the top 6.
So if Bournemouth are going to... you believe West Ham won't finish top 6?
Nah.
No?
No, I don't think they're going to be able to.
So you reckon United and Tottenham will come? Tottenham should come back in.
Yeah, Tottenham should come back in.
They'll
Chelsea dangerous, Arsenal dangerous, Manchester United to leave, Leicester come in. That's.
So you're United out, Leicester in.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call.
That is a fair call.
That's a very fair call.
Even though United did beat them at home, it was just by a penalty, and it wasn't that
It wasn't convincing. It was
very close.
It was not convincing at all. And also Manchester United are on a if anything, they haven't. It hasn't sunk in yet. Once it sinks in, it's going to get worse for them, I think. So the reason I don't really rate West Ham that highly is because obviously they got pummeled first game.
This might be a very forward-fronting question, but do you think Solskjaer sees out the season?
Well, some people were wondering if he's going to see out the evening, but I think he may, but it's a tough call.
If they sack him, how crazy would that be?
Depends
honestly,
when. Depends at what point.
Depends
Because
when. Well,
if they sack him in...
they gave him the job permanently.
Well, if they sack him in 2 weeks, it's stupid on them. Especially after all the things that they let him do during the transfer window. If they sack him just before the next transfer window, after results have been just like they are now, I can sort of understand that if they've got a good candidate. But if they don't have a good candidate...
if they've got a good candidate,
it's all context. It depends on the situation. Yeah. There's a lot to sort of... Yeah, they would go into that decision. But it's just... But West Ham, all right? If you look at these results, you'll sort of see where I'm coming from here. Yeah. I'm not...
No, go ahead.
I'm not convinced yet. They can still convince me.
Yep.
They lost to Man City, obviously. It's off.
That's
they drew with Brighton in the second game. Look, they were recovering from the 5-0. I can let that slide.
Oh, yeah. So you've let that slide.
They beat Watford.
Oh, whatever.
So
that's
I'm
routine
not,
at this point.
Yeah, exactly. They beat Norwich away. Sorry, as in Norwich was away. And Norwich away from home have not been good this season.
No.
They drew at Aston Villa.
0-0, yeah, in the trash game that our good friend Abdul had to mention.
There was absolutely... I don't think anyone disagreed that was a trash game. That was I think West Ham fans would even say it's a trash game.
No.
And then obviously they beat Manchester United, who
are very bad.
By all accounts,
they're not good away from home.
Well, they were terrible on the day. That's what I've been told. But the stats don't seem to say that. But
there's too many days that United are terrible. Too many.
Oh no! Well, that's why they're out of the top 6 for me. Like if Leicester continue down this path, so we'll get an idea. I reckon they'll lose this game. They're playing Bournemouth
at
this
home.
week.
Bournemouth is at home.
Bournemouth's at home. I mean, there's obviously no guarantees or anything like that, but I just feel this is the kind of game where West Ham are getting cocky now. They're saying, "Oh, we beat Manchester United." This has been typical of West Ham. They'll do something like this. They'll beat Manchester United. They'll be how good are we?
Bournemouth are going to be further entrenched in that top 6.
They'll still fall away, but then Bournemouth next week will play Arsenal and lose to them.
Arsenal might be scared of Bournemouth.
They could be. Yeah. But it's at home. No.
Yeah, well,
next week. We'll see if they're scared of Manchester United.
Yeah, we'll see if they're scared of them.
Well,
United are at home.
We will get to that. Because that'll be tasty.
Scared of Watford fans. My God.
I know we're getting sucked back in. I think West Ham will fall away, but going to this relegation battle, right? So we looked at the top 6. Actually, any comments you have on that?
On the top 6?
Any disagreements with what I was saying?
No, I don't disagree. I can see United missing. Did Chelsea? Is there a way back for Chelsea?
I reckon Chelsea's fine. I think they had a rough start. They needed to sort of get into it.
But hang on. You said if Leicester make the top 6, someone's not making it.
Yeah, United.
Yeah,
that's it.
But who's coming in?
Leicester.
Yeah. What about Chelsea?
Chelsea's still in top 6, not top 4.
So you're saying that West Ham and Bournemouth come out?
For
Tottenham and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's two.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't. I thought I was a bit clearer than that, but obviously clear as mud. No,
I agree with that. I can see that happening.
Well, Chelsea's obviously they started badly, terribly.
The thing about Chelsea, though, they are going with youth now, and youth aren't always consistent, even though they're good.
That's the thing.
They're not consistent.
But let's have a look at the fixtures.
But you've got to stay the course with youth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which I think Lampard will do.
And I do think they're getting better, and Kante's coming back.
They are getting better.
And Kante didn't play for basically the first 5 games.
Yeah, that's an important player.
Second game was against Leicester at home. That wasn't even that bad a result, to be honest, given what we know about Leicester now.
Yeah.
Obviously, they beat Norwich away in a crazy game.
Yeah.
But they won. And Norwich look like they're going to be at home at least fun. So that game was obviously
against Sheffield.
That was that inconsistency coming through. But once again, they showed how dangerous they can be.
Yeah.
And
they're learning. A lot of the players are learning. Yeah, see that game against Wolves that shows
5-2.
Yeah.
And the Wolves are made to look bad this season. I don't think they've actually been that bad. It's just that they've looked tired. And most of it comes down to...
Well, that's worrying, man.
Well, look, they played Leicester. They played Manchester United. They played Everton. They played Burnley, who actually look decent this season. At home, though. Yeah, but Burnley just look good all round this season. And who else have they got? They played Chelsea, obviously. So they haven't had a break up until this point.
Well, they've had a hard fixture.
And they just played Crystal Palace away, and they got a last-minute winner there. So they've had a very tough fixture list, and they've gotten 4 draws out of it.
If they don't win against Watford...
Well, this is their chance. But then against Watford's going to be... you just don't know how they're going to react. But they might get scared.
Well, you brought it up, not
okay, we'll let that die.
Yeah.
But in terms of relegation, I think it's fair to say that we're both expecting Wolves to get out of there. Especially given those fixtures at the start. And I think Wolves will... they're in the Europa League. They're a bit... It doesn't look like... They lost their first game at home to Braga.
Yeah, well...
which was a tough game, but we don't really know what... Wolves will just be happy to have a run there. Whatever happens. I don't think they're going to get relegated. I think that they're going to warm into it as well. No, they're not going to
get relegated.
Yeah. No. So, number one candidate, Watford, by a long shot. We said before, Newcastle, Norwich, Sheffield, they're sort of like the next in line. They need to sort of... Norwich need to do a little better away from home, I think. And Newcastle need to start scoring goals because they're just not dangerous enough, they can't win at home, and that's a big issue.
Yeah,
and that's a sign of relegation too. If you can't win at home, it's really hard to get out of that. No matter what crazy results you get away from home, like that did against Tottenham, I just can't see where they're going to get their wins from. Newcastle, that's their biggest issue. And Norwich,
that's true.
They can't lose every game they don't win. Like that's a bit of a worry too. They seem to be just either all in or all out. So and then Brighton just need to be a bit more. They've got a very decent chance of falling into the fray as well. So, but I think Southampton probably good to get out. So I got confused before, and Burnley I think are pretty safe, just because I feel like they've gone back to their pre-Europa League self and they're looking dangerous again. So getting the points against, because they can get points against decent teams, so that's always helpful in the relegation battle. But all the rest of the teams are sort of either all the way up the top or all the way down the bottom. So it's a bit of a hectic league, and that's the Premier League in a nutshell. It's mayhem right now.
Well, as we've said, a very competitive league, top to bottom.
I would like to draw the attention to the foreign leagues.
The
foreign leagues. So La Liga, Serie A, and the Bundesliga, because the French league doesn't exist. So those three leagues, I've drawn similarities to all three leagues. Yes, the French league doesn't exist. It's true. Similarities, Cos. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Well, similarities to what?
So in Serie A and La Liga and the Bundesliga, there's a three-pronged title race brewing in each of those leagues. Serie A, we have Inter Milan, Napoli, Juventus. In La Liga, we have Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico, sort of like the same old thing. But there's a legit chance for Real Madrid and Atletico this season.
Bilbao will win the league. Keep going. Yeah. What's in Germany?
And in Germany, we have Bayern, Leipzig, Dortmund. And in each of those leagues, there's the what do they call the how did I call this? The favorite, right? The one that always wins. Barcelona, Juventus, Bayern, and they each have their rival. In La Liga, it's Real Madrid. In Serie A, it's been Napoli for the last 5 seasons. It's been
Napoli, but not this season.
But and in the Bundesliga, Dortmund, right?
Yeah.
And they have the dark horse, who hasn't been competing.
The dark horse.
And the dark horse. Atletico Madrid is always the dark horse.
Yeah.
You know, like, but in Serie A, Inter Milan now the dark horse.
Well, they're genuine dark horses.
Because they've actually got a dark kit too. And
the dark snakes.
in the Bundesliga,
Yep.
Leipzig is the dark horse.
Yes, Leipzig.
Because Leipzig is top right now. Inter Milan is top right now. Atletico is not top, but they've got a whole...
Bilbao, the dark horse.
It's just a mess.
Don't you worry about that.
It is a mess right now in La Liga. It is. It's more of a catastrophe than the Premier League, below Liverpool and Manchester City.
Mate, I'm telling you now.
Have you seen this league?
Bilbao will win the league. Granada's on top.
Yeah, no, but Granada played an extra midweek game, so.
But even so.
So pretend that Granada didn't play that game.
Even so, that's huge.
Yeah, well, okay. We'll add the midweek games in. Granada's on 11 points. Bilbao's on 11 points. Real Madrid's on 11 points. Barcelona's on 10 because they played their midweek as well.
Sociedad's on 10. Sevilla's on 10. Atletico's on 10.
And Atletico's yet to play.
So from 1st to 7th, it's 1 point.
Yeah.
1 point diff.
Although Atletico...
If you go back down, it was just
the rest of the teams don't matter. Valencia's 14th.
Yeah.
Do you actually know what's going on at Valencia?
They're in crisis, aren't they?
Yes.
They sacked their manager.
Because he won the cup.
Yeah, basically. That's what they do over there. He's too good. We've got to get rid of him.
No, they legitimately sacked him for winning the cup because they wanted him to focus on the league because the league is where the money comes from. The better you do in the league.
Christ.
Yeah, it's...
But didn't he make the Champions League anyway?
Yeah, he made the Champions League.
Oh,
and they're all... And all the players are just disgusted. The fans are disgusted. They pulled off a win midweek against Chelsea, obviously.
Yeah, in the Champions League. Yeah.
Which was a sort of mini miracle, and they're all just... It was a terrible goal, but they got the win. And everyone's just not really sure what to expect there. At this stage, they're in 14th position. The coach before that game said, I don't know what's going to happen in this game. He just went, look, he basically said, we're in crisis, and I just don't know what's going to happen in this game. And they won somehow. But in the league, they've got 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses, -2 goal difference. It's not terrible, but
well, you got an unhappy place.
Well, there's no rhythm there whatsoever. So the owners are just they have no friends in Valencia, and but the league is just completely in disarray. Real Madrid, Zidane's head is on the chopping block, even though Real Madrid are technically second right now in the league, because they're just, it's Real Madrid and they're expecting to win every game because they're just used to it. Barcelona, apparently the players are losing faith in the manager. Because,
they are, yeah.
And you can kind of
He's been there a while now, and he's had 2 famous semi-final exits.
Yeah, well, he's also
in the Champions League
signed a whole bunch of random players. And Atletico Madrid, after a good start, I think they won their first 3 games. They've drawn 1 and lost the other.
Well, they've had big changes to their team as well.
Well, that's the thing.
So they're trying to adapt to new team.
Yeah. They sort of brought in too much at once, but there's still there's room here. Just on the weekend, Barcelona lost to Granada 2-0, and apparently they were completely outplayed.
They were completely outplayed.
Yes, and
that's
Messi
amazing.
came on at half time, so he's made his comeback. Suarez is playing, so it's not like they're, it's not like they were lacking talent without them anyway. But it's just sort of you're looking for excuses around the pitch, and you can't find them because they have the talent there, but they're just not getting the job done. And this is a Barcelona team, and it's worth mentioning. We did a bit of research during the week on Spain, the way that the money is distributed, and that the wage
it's gotten better. It's gotten better.
Yeah, it has gotten better.
Yeah,
but just to give a bit of context to that too, that it's probably like what was it, 600 million or something for Barcelona, Real Madrid, pretty much. to spend on wages, and the next closest is Atletico with half of that, and then the next closest I think was Bilbao or something like that, or Sevilla with half of that.
I think, yeah.
And half of Atletico's wages, and this is the limit. This is as much as they can spend. They don't necessarily spend this much. And then it's sort of maybe a few teams that got to like 100 million as well that they could spend. And then after, I think, 8th place, it just dramatictically dropped.
That reflects our assessment of the league.
Yeah.
It has been like that for a while.
The bottom 12 teams are basically villages, in comparison.
It's designed to win in Europe. That's why they're so good in Europe.
Mm.
The teams that are there are just good, and then the rest are no good.
And so the fact that the league is what it is now is embarrassing on Barcelona, Real Madrid's point. But it's. I mean, you could say the same about Manchester United. I mean, the amount of money that they have, the fact that they're in the mix for mid-table is embarrassing.
Oh, absolutely.
It is
absolutely.
Especially because they've been doing it for a while now. It's not like this has been a bad season or something like that.
When you lose Fergie time, you can't replace Fergie time, can you?
It's quality time you're not going to get back.
No.
But like to sort of, I mean, usually Spain is obviously the big battle between Barcelona and Real Madrid, but lately Real Madrid in the league has not been up to scratch.
Well, they've been getting to the results.
The thing is that they've been terrible, but still coming second.
Yeah,
and they came third as well in there somewhere, with Atletico coming in second, still far away from Barcelona, and it's just like this every season. And now these teams have somehow caught them. Temporarily, obviously, it's going to fall away. We know this happens. This happens most seasons, and then
it's just started.
Yeah, it's just started.
Still early,
and they're all going to fall away.
Still early. You get those Champions League fixtures and Europa Leagues. It all, and the cups. It all takes its toll. That's when squad depth becomes a factor as well, and then
and they'll just fall. They fall away.
That's it.
Which is why the more exciting or interesting leagues to follow will be definitely Bundesliga, Serie A, and obviously the Premier League.
Well, Premier League's number one. You can't.
Well, Premier League's just got everywhere you go. There's something going on.
Absolutely.
It's and teams that are fighting for relegation are beating occasionally Manchester City, which is just weird.
Yeah,
just weird. And Tottenham.
It is weird.
But that's a whole different story. I just wanted to touch on the German league and the Serie A.
Okay.
Just briefly before.
What do we got?
Before we round it all up.
What do we got?
Well, Leipzig, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of the unsung hero there. Like no one's really been talking about it, but
heroes,
they actually look. They're looking the part, just like Inter Milan are looking the part in Serie A.
Well, when you're backed by Red Bull, you're gonna start doing a bit better, aren't you?
Timo
Werner's a very good player.
Yeah, well, you were saying that they're quite
Werner.
lucky.
Huh?
You said that they're quite lucky to have him, or something along those lines. I think
Timo Werner.
Yeah, Timo Werner.
They seem reliant on him, but he's a very good player. He's a very good player.
But if you've got him in the team, then you might as well.
And they got that 29-year-old coach. I think he's 29 or 39.
29 at least.
He might be 39, actually.
Well, 39 sounds a bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Jumped the gun
Nagelsmann. Julian, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Did I read it? Was he 29 or 39? We'll
I think
fact check
39 is very...
39 is impressive, but I swear I read 29, which is crazy, but...
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I'm sure he's 39.
That would be the story of the week. The fact that we've gone
It might not
even
be a 9. It might be 35 or something.
He's going to be like 52 or something like that.
No, he's not. He's young. I know he's young.
All right, where's Leipzig? Okay, they had their 3-0 win.
Yeah.
Good on them. Leipzig. We're going for our manager. Where are we? Now we've got squad. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Nagelsmann. Can't do a thing. We'll have to do the old Google. just to see.
I want to see how old this man is.
He could be a boy. He could be a
No, he's not
15-year-old kid.
No, let's not be ridiculous. All right? Let's keep it real here.
Okay. He could be 19.
How old is he?
He could be 19. 87. So that would make him.
Oh, so he's 32.
Which is.
I don't know where I got the 9 from.
Oh, he was 29 3 years ago. So. You know.
Well, there you go. So he's 32. That was close.
That is impressive.
That's very impressive.
That is very impressive. No matter what happens this season. And I was going to talk about my dark horses for the Champions League too, but that doesn't matter anymore.
Well, Inter Milan? Is it you?
No, I'm going to go with Napoli and Leipzig. But
Napoli and...
Well, Napoli is a genuine semi-finalist.
They've got experience.
Contender.
They've got experience.
I think they can make it. Leipzig, I don't think is going to make it past the quarters, but they'll get out of the group, and I would back them to make the quarters with a good draw.
You know, this is a genuine dark horse for me. Juventus. Seriously, the way they're playing at the moment, they're a dark horse. They're not playing good. But we know they can.
It was just the Italian way.
They've got the
play
quality.
badly early in the season.
They've got the quality.
To finish strong.
If it starts to click, they're good. But at the moment, nah.
Yes. Yeah, well, I was going to say on that, just before we do wrap up, Serie A this season, a lot of people are like, oh, Juventus is going to win again, blah, 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 all this stuff. You know, it's just going to think.
It's not guaranteed.
Well, they're looking as bad as they've looked in the last...
Yeah, and they haven't had a bad fixture to start, really. Yeah. They've had a pretty easy fixture to start off with.
They've sort of just struggled through it, haven't they? Who was the draw against? The draw was against...
Fiorentina.
Fiorentina.
That's away from home, but
Fiorentina, that was their first point. So, it's...
But Fiorentina have had a hard fixture to start as well.
Yeah, they have had a very hard fixture to start. So, but the way it just doesn't...
They're not playing good.
It feels like there's... Because you said, it feels like there's something in the air, you know? Like...
There is. You know, well, I'm feeling it as a fan. I'm watching it. I'm telling you, there's something different happening, and you can see it. I can feel it.
The dark force of Lukaku tearing it up.
Lukaku, yeah. Well, Conte's come out and said, I think they play Juventus in 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. Conte has come out and said we must have maximum points for that Juventus game. That's what he's, you know.
And then he wants maximum points against.
And then he'll want that, and then
he'll continue it.
He'll just keep wanting maximum points.
It'll be like that first season with
he's
Chelsea.
He's a winner.
Yeah,
that's what Inter have, a perennial winner.
And he's got that intensity that'll get them just. They've clearly stepped it up from last season. Inter Milan, they needed to be in the talk.
Don't forget Napoli. Don't forget they shouldn't have.
Napoli
they shouldn't have lost that game to Juventus.
Napoli and Inter look as good as they've looked in years.
Yeah. Napoli have improved.
They
started slow because I think their defensive partnership needed a couple of games to get going.
And they look good against... I wouldn't even say the defensive partnership. Their entire back four looked very good against Liverpool.
Yeah, that was the best game they had played this season today.
And I think that could kickstart this season. Them beating
because they got Koulibaly, who's been sensational for
I don't even think he was the best defender in that game.
I'm just saying it's part of a thing.
But everyone's looking at him. He's thought of as one of the best in the world at the moment.
Well, he has been in that category, yeah.
And in that game,
he's been at Napoli for a long time. As well.
And I think the other defenders actually defended not so much defended better.
Did Costas Manolis play for in that game?
I'm not sure
because he's the partnership.
I feel like that name was in the lineup.
Star centre back. So they've strengthened Napoli, and they got Herving Lozano, the Mexican.
The Mexican.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Jeez, is he in the back line?
No, he's an attacker. But
he's an attacker.
Just saying, they've strengthened their.
Yes, Manolis was at the back. He looked.
Yeah.
And let me just get a face recognition here. No, I can't.
I'm sure you saw him.
Yeah, I think it was him.
Yeah, they're good players.
Di Lorenzo, I think, made some really good, really important. They weren't tackles. They were. There was
just interceptions.
There was a 2-on. It was like when Mane and Salah broke free.
Yeah.
And the calm-headedness. They had two defenders just. They stood in the right spot and they made it very difficult. And
that's Italian defending.
Yeah, that was.
They don't play defensively; they're just good at defending.
And they've got players that can score goals. So unlike AC Milan, who have got a solid back line. Solid back line, though.
Look,
they just can't score goals. But they're not in the picture.
The end product, their final third is just dying. It's just dead. Like, the build-up play is fine until it gets there. And then it's just... The final third is making them look worse than what they are. I think they just got to fix that line. Because defensively in the midfield's pretty good. They're all right. But they just can't score.
Yeah, they just can't score. So eventually they'll get that. But I think that's a good wrap.
Is that a wrap?
I think that's a wrap.
Is that a wrap?
We didn't even get a chance to talk about the Champions League, but such is life. The Premier League just had so much going on, and of course a little bit about
we should talk about the Europa League.
Europa League,
the
World League.
That's a joke. I don't care.
World
I
League.
really don't care.
No, the World League.
What?
That's the league of the people.
The World League of the people.
The League of the People. You know, that's where you get the representation of Europe. What
are you talking about?
Europa League. That's where you get
the World League.
Yeah, you get the Europe. Well, you know, like the people. You get to see all the little nations take their part in the big masterpiece that is European football.
I think you've lost it, mate.
Yeah. No, it's a thing. Trust me. But
Azerbaijan.
Okay, enough.
I'm waiting for San Marino to get represented.
That'll be the day. Thank you for listening. If you got this far, we hope to see you again next week, where Abdul will be back again.
Abdul will be back.
Abdul's going to make it a regular every second week appearance.
Yeah, we're very excited to have Abdul.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the weekend will bring us, but I'm sure it's going to be crazy. We might move it to Monday. We'll see how Abdul's schedule looks. But other than that,
he'll be good. He'll be good.
Check out our YouTube channel. Look out for new videos that might be coming soon.
Yeah.
To follow the thing, probably snippets of the podcast at this point. But that'll be it for today. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, take care, guys. Yeah.